Alright, so we're updating all of the nonsense that we have here on X and YouTube. I think we can do it there too. I don't know what I'm doing. It's just a monkey pounding on the keyboard. Just a monkey pounding on the keyboard. Go to YouTube Studio. Is it there? I'm at great risk. I guess we can't adjust it, so we'll just do that. So that probably didn't go as planned. Just know that in my mind, this is a much better experience for you than I'm ever going to be able to provide. So this is the theory of everything experience, where the past, present, and future experience at the same time, so we can pretend to know the unknowable. Doesn't sound super horrible. Basically, what this is a real-time documentation of a universe being formed. Is kind of the nerdy explanation in my mind. It's the end goal is to change the universe in a way no one saw coming. My vision of this is basically you're at the beginning of Lee Corso. You go back to Lee Corso and Pee Wee football, and that's what this is all the stuff you wish you thought you knew that they were thinking. You get to think it, and it's probably going to be dog shit, but it may be awesome. It doesn't have to work every time. It just has to work this time. I am going to process a joke. I think it's a joke. More like a Dumb and Dumber. You're saying there's a chance thing, and I have a proposal with the team over at Pat McAfee to create a new NCAA for all sports. I have a name. I've put a lot of thought into it. A lot of nuance involved in the reshaping of society, but basically the ethos of it, of the neutral incorporation for competitive collegiate activities, is to redefine value and the way in which it is distributed. And as far as the actual league itself, it is a 5-conference league with 5 teams. Each conference is owned by the 5 teams, and they decide how they choose their champion. And the fans will get to vote on the next team to go in, giving you a 6-team playoff. The number 1 seed, which would be the one that has the highest record and voted the highest among the fans, will get to choose whether they're on a bye or not, and also get to choose their opponent in each round. that's the premise for all of the leagues. Um, so that's kind of that. Uh, it's interesting. It was an interesting topic today that the guys over at Pat McAfee talked about was the Kawhi. I think it was Kawhi Leonard. Fuck. Um, he some reporter found out that one of the owners. I don't follow basketball, so I don't fucking know what's going on here. Basically, one of the basketball players got paid $28 million through a fake company um, to circumvent some stupid bullshit about salary cap or taxes or some whatever the reason is. They were doing it. They were doing it behind closed doors, so nobody knew that it was happening. So everybody's offended now. Um, but it's interesting that, like, are we offended by this? Is it a big deal? Like, what is the big deal behind it? Because I think if you want to make something happen like that, like if you're looking at, as somebody who has created a sports league in my mind, and 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 crowned many champions in many sports through many different ordeals, yet haven't done any of it. It's it's interesting to think about the way money flows. Like this Micah Parsons deal, I wrote about. I wrote an article. I think I posted it in Substack. I'm not very good at all of this. Like I said at the beginning, the experience that you're receiving is much different than the one that I'm imagining. But when I think about that, it's I will never be able to provide you the experience that you want. So my theory behind this is I follow it. Everything's going to be very random because I have no structure, obviously, and I'm an over explainer without instructions or guidance. Um, I know that I'm crazy. I know that what I say is insane, uh, and it's a very we trust that thin line exists between genius and insanity, and all of us trust in our lines there, but very few of us have the faith to try to look beyond the line to see the genius. So I I guess I'm one of those people that have faith that there's an answer to all of these questions that we say we don't have answers to. Um, and I use sports as a guideline because society needs two things to exist. It needs government, which is just rules and enforcement, and competition. So sports is vital, and being able to maintain sports with government is vital to society. And the way that you make something like that is you have to understand that, I guess have to understand isn't the right term. I've come to understand that to have an effective system, you need to have it's your trident, it's your three. Is that a trident? Fucked up fingers, but it's your trident. And if you look at the trident, my fingers are going to be very you have four things in the trident if you're looking at it, and the strongest thing is the one that everybody ignores. So if you're looking at a trident, usually the middle finger, it's the middle point is going to be the direction that you're going. So this is the purpose that you're trying to achieve in your system. And one side is going to be things that are are aware of it and trying to stop it, and the other thing is going to be aware of it and trying to push it forward. And when it starts to spin when one of those three things become out of balance. So if the purpose remains the focus, everything balances. But if the against or for ever become out of alignment, that's where you get spinning. And the part that people forget is the handle, which is your fourth part of the system. And those are the people who are pushing or holding the three systems together so they don't fly apart. Because without all four of those pieces, without the growth, without the pushing against, and without the people driving to make it move it forward, without something binding them together of indifference, that didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, that didn't make a lot of sense. In my mind, it did, but whatever. Um, so in any event, you basically need to create a system of government and competition, and the degrees in which you fall in between those two endpoints. That's where the glue that holds everything together, which is what I'm calling art. And art is basically your level of indifference to competition as it relates to government. And yeah, that's basically how it all lays out. So I think we've become very confused as to what actual value is. The only way that we have to exchange value is through currency. And when currency becomes the way that you keep score, it becomes very difficult. There becomes a cap on ways in which you can funnel it. It's it you can't. As systems grow, how do I? The problem with creating systems at scale, like a national sport or a television show that you see on TV or a Tom Cruise movie, is how do you appropriately exchange value? When we were smaller systems, when we were when you well, just if you look at it as if we're smaller systems, you have your most basic system, which is, or the most basic system in society is the person. The person system is made up of the actual person itself, so the human, and then the purpose. Oh shit. And your willingness and to achieve your purpose is based on your dedication and accountability. If you're not a dedicated person to it, you're not going to achieve your purpose. And if you're not accountable to the action, if you're not accountable to the reactions to your actions, then you're never going to achieve your purpose. And I think as you listen to all of these college coaches, as you listen to all of we just saw Chapel Bill happen. You listen to Bill Belichick, you listen to Nick Saban, you listen to these guys talk. I don't want to say, I don't remember hearing a coach, somebody whose purpose is not to win championships, is not to win games, but their purpose is to leave a legacy. They never do we really think Nick Saban thought North Carolina was going to win that game against TCU on Monday night? All of us wanted, we all hoped that North Carolina would win, because we have some sick, perverted unawareness, incapability to realize beginnings are hard, and if you go from the end of one system to try to start another one, the observer forgot that it's not the same system. It's not, we all know that North Carolina is in New England, but you think that a system is, we think a system is its container. If you think about it, the coach is the membrane of a team, or I guess we use a team, is a membrane of a team. It's the buffer. It's the thing that understands everybody's process and how it's supposed to work together. So it's the one that tries to, it's the one that tries to figure out what is of value to the team, and it has created a crucible or an ozone layer or a membrane that you're to get through it all the way to become a part of the team. You have to go through the coach, and to get through the coach, it is going to be uncomfortable. You are going to have to demonstrate that you are accountable and dedicated to the purpose of the team. So if you look at the team breaks down into two parts that the coach is basically consuming. Or if you I wish I knew how to use AV stuff, but if you look at any power, a nuclear power plant, or I don't remember what the four things that come together that just have the loops going into themselves, that energy, gravitational pull, if you look at the magnetic force around Earth or whatever, the coach is that magnetic force around the team. It protects them from the shit the radiation and shit of the outside. That's what they're supposed to do. And to have a successful team, that's what the coach does. That's why Bill Belichick was, in my opinion, I don't know Bill Belichick, but if you're looking at the way that works, if you're looking at Sirianni in Philadelphia, if you look at the Cowboys, this is Jimmy Johnson was, he didn't mind the spotlight, but he didn't give a fuck about anybody. He didn't care. I haven't seen the whole documentary. I think I'm through one or two episodes of it, but the part when he says like he left his fucking entire family behind and then was like, I don't have a problem cutting players because they're not aligned with the direction that I'm trying to go. Like that's literally what you need, what we've gotten away from, and that's what you need as that coach or as that person. Um, so it's an interesting. I don't know what the fuck I just did. So it's so we don't when we look at systems, we think of A and B, and we forget of how all of the things like intertwine, and like how coaches, if you're doing it right, the coach is like he's the one that has his fingers in everything, but no one ever realizes that he's done anything, and like that's kind of like I follow the Tao Te Chi. I don't fucking know, but like that's basically what they describe is that the coach in the system of a team, which we'll call a team. I guess I need a better way to explain this. So a team is a system of of coaches and players. There is a head coach or manager that is made up of a manager. I'm fucking horrible explaining this. Team is made up of a manager, coaches, and players. That is a team. The player and coach system is protected and powered by the manager, meaning the manager is responsible for providing it everything that it needs to achieve its purpose, but also protecting it from the things that doesn't add value to the system. And the way that it does that is by practicing, understanding the game, doing what needs to be done to move things forward. Whenever I don't know why I got into that long, convoluted answer for what we were doing. So the reason why I brought up coaches is because there's because managers and coaches, whenever a team takes an L, whenever there's a problem, they always go back to the basics. And we have all of these systems that we have problems with. We have the NCAA and playing players, and schools have. There's only a matter of time before we're crowning the Meta Bowl national champion, sponsored by Google, on the moon, or whatever the fuck is going to happen with the NCAA and all the money that's going to be funneling through there. And the fundamental problem is, and if we want to go back to basics, we should go back to the basic system. Like the NCAA is so huge, like government is so huge, businesses are so huge, society is so huge. So how do we go back to the fundamentals? And the fundamental would be that's I think what we need to get back to is like get back to a fundamental system. And a fundamental system is only three parts. Every system only has three things. And then it has that fourth thing that kind of has that outside thing that holds it together. So like the person system is as a person, you have your body and then you have your purpose. And that is you as a person. In America today, Most people have see a purpose, or it's the standard American existence, or you just kind of try not to die. Like that's your existence. And like that's not, I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. I think that's kind of how the confusion of value has presented itself. It's what happens when you when you invent imaginary, when you just make up something to make up something to represent value. Um, it's super funny that around about the time that we're able to make up our own imaginary friends, um, our own people to talk to, our own kind of like internal council of people to talk to. I have them. They're fucking that TV show. What the fuck is the name? Like the movie, that Pixar movie with those voices in your head. That's fucking real. Like that's a real thing. Um, but I think that it's funny. Like when we got to that point in our lives, they told us that those imaginary friends were dumb, but then started introducing us to all their imaginary friends. Here's some money. This is how you figure out what you're worth. Here's time. This is how you figure out how long something is. And like neither one of them are actual things. They just made them up. Like uh, if you talk to, like, I don't know, I haven't played football. I haven't played elite competitive sports in 20 years. Um, I was knocked out going into my freshman year of college on the football field and haven't played competitive football since then. Um, but thinking about that whole experience, the fact that I played, the only reason I went to college was to play football. I dropped out of college after, slowly, I processed my way out of college because, it was definitely not the way to go. Um, but I dropped out of, went to college to play football, was medically unable to play football, and realized college wasn't for me and left. So that's the dedication that I had to it. Was I was willing to sit through 4 more years of school to play football rather than go find something that I enjoyed doing. And and the interesting thing is, like, we complain about that being the aspect or the way that things are right now, and I've come to an adage of a mantra, an adage, something to live by, of like, there is no problem without a solution. If a problem doesn't have a solution, then it's just reality. So nobody seems to have a solution to any of these problems, and I've come up with one. Um, and now it's just implementing it. Like it is a fractally scalable system, which means it is can scale in all directions to any size, up or down as needed, easily. Search Amanda Bolsat and Zoom. It's it is that thing, and it comes down to breaking down to how do you put the people system in order, meaning that they're operating efficiently at humans achieving their purpose. And how do you like how do you implement that? And the first way to implement that is going to be to to change the way we exchange value. We need, and that's why yeah, we need to change the way that we exchange value, and that's where it's like the interesting part of the report, the alleged report about, I think it was a basketball player, but the alleged report about the basketball player is like, that's, if isn't that the way you want to do business? Like, if I'm take away all of like the, how do you keep track, how do you do XYZ, but like, isn't that the way you want to get things done? Is just like, hey, what do you want? What do you need here? What can I give you? Is this the same value? Are you getting the same value to me as I'm giving to you? And it's understanding that value. Like, there's that kid that hit a shot for like a giveaway on X for Pat McAfee show, right? And like, you retweet something, and if you're chosen at random, they will give you $500. I retweeted it. It's way scarier than I think that I really understand every time I do something. Like, there's a legitimate experience, like emotion is just your past expectation of the future being realized in the present, right? Like, I'm just reacting to the way I thought something was going to be, and that's why I have an emotion. So if I never think something is going to be a certain way, I can't have an emotion about it, because it just is, right? It is what it is until you make it what it isn't. And when you make it what it isn't, like, there's that like that roller coaster feel where you're like dropping off of a roller coaster, like that hollowness in your stomach, because like that's where trust and faith become knowledge, right? In that moment, I trust that this is going to be the most excruciating experience of my life, and like, nothing is ever going to come of it. Like, I trust that that's the reality. Like, but I have faith that I will, and that's where the accountability comes in, where you have data, like, you have accountability, like, you see that you're sitting in front of a computer for an hour a day talking to yourself and nobody's looking at it. Like, do you have the dedication to keep going until somebody sees you? Are you willing to embarrass yourself in front of somebody that you've never met and probably don't expect to meet? But are you willing to do that to get to where you potentially want to go? And that's what I think we're looking for. I think we've made up some things, entitled some things to scare us away from it, and I don't think we understand what abundant living really is, right? Like, you hear Elon preach about we are going to live in abundant times, and the biggest problem is we're going to need to people are going to be sitting around doing nothing. Well, taking away the fact that if you take away somebody's purpose to live, they're not going to want to live, and they're not going to want to reproduce. If you take away that being an actual thing, because you've discounted the entire experience of it itself, also the experience that you're trying to artificially provide is just that, artificial. And to some level, at some point, we humans will always recognize what is fake. It may be after the point of no return, but like, the reason why humanity survives is because at some point it figures out like this isn't what's supposed to be real. Um, so if you take away like the entire automation and taking away experience things being a reality, I don't think that is. I fucking forgot what I was talking about. I should not smoke a bunch of weed before I do this. But I did. Let's talk about Elon, right? Oh, that was what, yeah. So, like, abundant living, right? Like, we think it is, we have it labeled right. It is being able to live frivolously, being able to live wastefully, being able to live without, being able to live knowing there's always going to be enough, right? That is what abundant living is. And if you're truly capable of abundant living, that would go for all resources, right? That would go for all resources, including up to and including life, which is a huge problem that I don't think ever gets addressed. Of are you are we ever going to get to the point where it is okay for you to live carelessly with your life? And some people will say, well, it is that way now, but is it? Like, are you able to live your life without any repercussions or negative connotations or whatever? And if there are, is there a way for you to disprove the stereotype? Now, some people would be like, some people hear that and it's like that. Now you're talking about DEI shit, and it's not DEI shit. It is a competitive atmosphere. Like, we're not ists, we're est. I'm not an IST. I'm not looking for anything that's against somebody, but I'm looking for the best at what we're trying to compete for. Um, but sometimes the best, like, do you does anybody honestly think that the best person to run any situation is a college dropout who's never succeeded at anything in their life? Fuck no. But is there a chance that maybe that's exactly what you need at the top of a situation, is somebody who knows how to adapt and move through failure and unexpected consequences and live within the resources that they have available? I would think that's kind of exactly what you want to run something. Um, the purpose of a government, the purpose of a governing body, the purpose of managers is not to accumulate wealth. It's to, you want, you, ideally, I think you want the leaders of anything to not be interested in accumulating value beyond accumulating a legacy. And that's kind of why, that's kind of what I think every system needs to be. Like, you need to create something to achieve your purpose, right? Like that. I use the Pat McAfee show because I think that it is the demonstration of the like, I don't want to say perfect, but the ideal maybe it is the encapsulation of the ideal way I think information should be disseminated, right? Like the joke is that it's comedic informative. Like if you look back at the word comedy, it does not mean funny. It's more closely resembles just like an experience. Like I don't think Shakespeare wrote anything funny, but I believe he has comedies. Like it's not necessarily funny. It's supposed to be what I call reality altering. Like you should feel something when you consume it, and the Pat McAfee show offers that from all of the different angles. Like we're watching basically a professional talk to two fans while there's an interacting observer, which is usually Tone Diggs and D-Buds, or looks like Bruce Arians going to be there. Like those are your interacting observers, right? They you know that they're watching the conversation, and then you have the observers, which is the boys in the back. But much like a Deadpool type of fourth wall thing, like in Deadpool was so, I don't know if I want to say innovative or whatever it was, but like one of the reasons why I think that Deadpool was so appreciated is because it acknowledged all the absurdities that happen in these movies as they're happening in the movie. Well, with the Pat McAfee show, the boys in the back are the people in the movie theater, and now we're watching the people in the movie theater at the same time we're watching the movie get made. And that interaction and that energy, that value, that experience that is provided is ideal because it's done in a manner that you get to see or get to feel like all three layers of the system are being represented. Like our system has gotten too big and we kind of need to get a different representation. We have, with sports, we have a representation of a professional football player, many of them from different points of view. Mainly Pat McAfee is a professional football player that probably, if you talk to anybody at that, I would love to have been in Jim Irsay's mind when Pat McAfee was like, I'm going to retire as a Pro Bowl kicker and I'm going to go do what I'm doing in his basement. As somebody who's doing it now, I don't know if I would stop punting footballs. Maybe. I think maybe at 28, I don't know if I would stop punting footballs. At 45, I totally would stop punting footballs. So like he made a move that everyone thought was crazy, but he thought was ingenious and started making this podcast, right? So like he never even as his universe has grown to envelop our universes, every time when you look into that fourth wall or fourth dimension, you want to know what a 4D experiencing entity sees. That's what they see. They see the making of the movie while the audience at the movie theater is reacting to it. So basically, Pat McAfee has illustrated the fourth dimension. It could be totally wrong. Like literally, I'm a fucking college dropout that smokes a ton of weed. I don't fucking know anything. This is just my take on everything. I think it's interesting. I enjoy talking about philosophy. I have tons of interesting ideas that I never get to in myself. So I don't know what the fuck. Um, where are we at here? Where the fuck are we at here? Trying to keep this at less than an hour. Trying to. I thought there was a time. Oh, 47 minutes. I think that. I don't know. So yeah, I didn't talk about anything important. I never do. Um, like I said, I'm not really like I have visions of where like the idea. So the idea of what I have for what I have different opportunities that are different levels of achievement is what I vision this. This is totally could be nothing. Like I could be homeless in 17 days and fucking be living in my car. Who fucking knows? This is could be somebody could see this and think that it's fun, and I have somebody to talk to, and it becomes great. Uh, uh, we could all take over the world. Like literally everything in between those are options for this. So I think it's fun. I enjoy. The reason why I'm trying this is because I do. I do a ride share in the morning. I enjoy talking to people. I literally live the dream. I wake up at 4 a.m. I drive people around. I come home and I solve problems and smoke weed all day. Not entirely true, but sort of. But that's my ideal situation. Is I get to enjoy people in the morning. I come home, sit outside, enjoy some outdoors time, think about stuff, smoke a joint, and just let it flow. And it's been super awesome. And you get this, I think it's interesting to talk about those things with people. And when I talk about those things with people, they seem to be interested in it. It's just way fucking harder to do it when you're talking to yourself. Um, so I'm trying to figure out how to present that in a way. And like what I really would like to do is I would like to like set up my vision of societal information is that society owns the information and it's disseminated in kind of a similar way of basically what I think this would work. How I'd like this to work is like I don't pay attention to anything in the world, but I know that I should. I'm never going to. I never read. That's not true. I rarely read entire articles on something. And I think this is the case for most people. So what I would like to do is I would kind of like to set up a thing where somebody's kind of a locker room type of environment where like the Pat McAfee show where it just looks like a bunch of people are sitting around smoking weed, solving the world's problems. Like literally think that's what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be sitting around enjoying each other, talking about problems. Problems are only real if they have solutions. And if we're talking about realities, then I think we've done a good job. And that's kind of what I'd like to do is like talk about the shit that's just going on that I don't even know about and then have the audience kind of fill in what it is and develop relationships with experts that when we're on topics that we can get in touch with them and they can be like, nah, this is what we have. Nah, this, or if we're not able to develop them, make them. Like I said, this experience, like in my mind, your experience is much better than what you're having, but I'm never going to be able to provide you with the experience that's in your head. So like literally, if somebody is interested in like taking over a production role, When being involved, I'm all ears. I'm open to all the help that I can get. So if you know anybody or know anything, hit me up, or however it's supposed to work. I don't know. Fucking message me, tag me. I don't know how it all works. I'm literally a bumbling idiot. But I'm gonna go. Uh, some people speak in words. Some people speak with actions. There is no action without a reaction. So react often, react with purpose, and act kindly. Until next time.